run has had a great one, or maybe it's just a rest day for you, whatever it is. Hopefully you're having a good one.
Yep. So today we're going to kind of continue our series on mobility and different exercises and stretches, quite frankly. And this is an important one, as we've talked about, because we sit so much. I am super guilty of this, just due to lifestyles now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were not designed to sit all day, and we're not designed to eat all day either.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that we've adopted in our new modern lives with this have put us in those positions, and it is kind of wreaked havoc on our, not only on our posture, causing low back pain, knee pain, all this kind of stuff. And then we're runners, so we ask our body to do a high impact sport. But we're not doing those things to allow it to be able to do it efficiently. So mobility work is not fun. It's not exciting. It's not whatever. It's the boring stuff that you need to do that is going to allow you to run better. You just have to have part of it. Your hips, your hips attach your upper body to your lower body. So you can see how really important these are for our flexion, for our moving forward, for our knee drive, for all the mechanics that go into running. Our hips are super important with that. So having the proper mobility, which gives you the proper range of motion, which is going to allow you to be able to drive your knee, be able to have that power, be able to have that strength and that endurance to be able to do that sport, and to do it. The more efficient you are as a runner, the longer you can run, the easier it is to run, and the faster you can run, the more power you have. So it's not the stuff you want to do, but all the other stuff that it's going to give you is what you want. So you can't just do the miles. You can't just do the miles. That's all we want to do, is focus on the miles, do the miles. We love doing the miles. You have to do the stuff too.
Yeah, and the reality is we're getting older. We're just, because of you factor in our lifestyles, all those things kind of compound. And we all know this, but it's a good reminder, which is why we do these each week.
Yeah.
It holds us accountable, and hopefully holds you guys accountable, and gives you that little bit of insight to be conscious of stuff that we all should be doing as we move forward and we kind of age a little bit. Painful as that is. All right, so we're going to go to some slides. We're using a different platform today, so it's going to be a little bit different.
We've had a lot of problems with issues,
some tech issues. So we're testing other things here. So we're going to try this one today.
New application. Well, we're going back to the old one. We tried something new and just got fed up with it. Yeah.
So today, again, real quick, we're going to talk about how improving your mobility, hip mobility, is going to improve your running. It really is. It's going to unlock that power in your hips. And it's just one of those things you don't realize until you do some of these stretches, which we're going to show you, and you will notice a difference. It's going to be like, wow, what a difference.
Absolutely.
As we say each week, this is not medical advice. No. It is just meant for you guys to be aware of something. Please do your own research.
Education.
It's educational information for you guys on stuff that we've researched. Again, do your research, because if you do that, you're going to be better today than you were yesterday, which is what we all want for each of us, right?
Yeah, we got to never compare yourself. Remember, comparison is the thief of joy. All you have to do is be better than you were yesterday. If you just keep doing that, and just even by a little bit, you will be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna test some stuff here. So again, we're better than yesterday. Last week we talked about the thoracic spine, and we gave some really good exercises: foam rolling, the open book, the cat cow. And we were at the gym. We did some of this stuff. Again, you don't even have to have a gym. It's just nice if you have one, because you can do a lot of this stuff from your home with some bands, and those things you can get online very inexpensively. Yes. But we went through all those. The last one, you really need to have something, is a pull-up bar or something to hang. That one, we actually purchased one on Amazon, and it's something we do every day now, just hanging there or trying to do pull-ups. I'm working on my pull-ups. She is as well. And we're just trying to do it again for strength training as we go through all this stuff. So today we're going to talk about, again, hip mobility, and we're going to go into some actual videos here that we shot, and we're going to see if this is going to work. And if not, we're going to go to plan B here. Oh, okay. That one's not going to work, but hold on one second. We've got to back up. We've got this to where it will work. So just bear with me 1 second. We just have to jump around a little bit. That's all. Just a little bit of a diversion each time. It's all good. All right. So here is oops, that's not the one we want. We want the Front leg swings. We'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this should probably be a part of your dynamic warm-up, but this is considered a mobility exercise. So a lot of times I'm doing them outside where we're at, and I don't have something to
Hang on.
just to stabilize me. So I'm not getting as high as I should be. So this is one thing. I mean, without it, you are testing and doing a little bit of your stability, which kind of helps. But ideally, if you can hang on to something, it's kind of better because you're going to get more, you're going to be more focused on that range of motion, really moving that hip back and forth. And like I said, I don't have the range of motion that a lot of people. I've seen people at the gym kick all the way up. It's amazing how far they have, but I'm a work in progress. So one of these things, like I said, probably would be great to have as part of your dynamic warm-up. So you're working on that too. So if you're already doing this, kudos to you.
Yeah, exactly. You'll notice here, I'm going to play this one little clip here again. Patty is, because she's using the bar to stabilize herself, she gets her foot as high as possible. See right there? That's lateral with her hips, and she's trying to get higher, but she's a work in progress, but that's a big deal. This opens up your hips. Now watch right there. See how she got nice and high there?
Yeah.
And that is a big deal.
But I was only able to do that because I had something to stabilize mine. So
if you don't have one,
you're still going to do those. You might, unless you have stellar balance. I have pretty good balance, and to get that high without something supporting me, a little tricky. So
right. So the next one is the lateral one. So again, she's got a pull here.
You want to do front and back, and you want to do side to side.
Now this is another one that's you're going to feel this in your hips. This is one I really notice every day before I run. Every time I run, this is the one that really gets me. And a lot of times, again, I'm not using a support item, but if I should be doing that more often. We're at the gym here, and we're just filming this for Patty real quick. But you see here, just kind of like a windshield wiper effect.
Yeah, and it does. This will help. There's several other exercises that I do as far as my dynamic warm up, but those two are always in it. And it's, like I said, it gets the blood moving, gets that, but this is something you can do throughout the day too. If you've been sitting for a while, you need to shake out, you need to keeping that mobility in your hip. Like I said, your hip is, your psoas. I mean, one of some of these, muscles that literally attach, from your abdominal wall all the way to your, through your pelvis to your femur. So if you don't think having a tightness there or not having correct range of motion with these muscles in this hip complex, there's a reason why you could have knee pain, a reason why having lower back pain. I mean, this can create a whole host of things, if nothing else, affecting your performance. So
yeah, exactly. So there's the lateral leg swings, and the next one is the standing hip stretch, which this one is a lot harder than you realize. Again, you might need some support for this to start out, but there you go, right there. Crossing that leg over and getting down. This is one you be careful when you do this one. Use common sense as always, but that's the ultimate goal, is to get to that position.
Yeah, that is really, it does the balance too, but that is a great thing for your hip, for
opens up. And if you can't do it standing up on your own, use a bed or use something high, just so now you have more stability.
So another version of this would be having the pigeon posed and doing that on an elevated surface. If you can do pigeon on the ground too, that's also a one. But I like this one because it does my balance, and it just feels really good.
Yeah, no, that is a really, I like that one. That's one I do all the time. I'll do it on the bed as well. So this one, we got a little bit confused on the name of this one, but this is a good one though too. So the hip cars is what it's called.
Yeah, I saw this from some training video a long time ago, and I could not remember what this was called, but it does. The great thing about it does the flexion, it does the abduction, then you do the rotation, and then extension, and then you go all the way, and then you go back, the extension, and then you start back. So then you do the opposite, then you do the adduction, and then you do the internal rotation, and then the flex. So it does all parts of, the range of motion that your hips have is, flexion, extension, and internal and external rotation. So that kind of hits all of that. And it looks a little strange, the balance kind of thing, but think of going, flexing forward, then you're doing that that abduction, and then you're rotating and then going extending. So that's frontwards and backwards. It does take a little, and you can always do these hanging onto something.
Yeah.
I mean, it works your mobility
And your balance too.
I mean, and balance. So anytime you can work on balance, you should work on balance. It's a huge thing. I mean, so this is one of the things that kind of targets the last one too, could target all of those. If you can do it. Now, if you're falling over and all that, then it kind of defeats the purpose of what you're doing. Then you need to hang on to something. Sorry, the light was like blaring into that room. So
Yeah.
the light's a little off, but
Yeah, you get the idea though.
We're not camera people.
No, well, we have to work with limitations at times.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have the hurdle step, which is another good, again, these are all little simple things you can do anywhere.
All hip openers,
Yep.
It's just basically like you're stepping over a hurdle.
Yeah.
And then you can, I don't think I showed it rotating back, but then you start from there, and then you could rotate the opposite direction. And, like I said, do it on both legs. This would be something that could be part of your dynamic. A lot of these could be part of your dynamic warm up, but a lot of these things you could do like throughout the day. We're talking like 5 minutes, do 10 rotations on each side. This is not something that you have to do for 20, 30 minutes. It's just something that's a few minutes does a lot of good.
Yep, exactly. And then we have the next one. We have the frog. This is a pretty basic. That's basically the stretch right there. I do a little video on this, but because Patty's really not moving here. Excuse me.
It's if you've done this in yoga, I had one yoga class, and I do not do yoga on a regular basis. It frustrated me. I know that's not what yoga is supposed to be about, but being a runner and going in there, you feel like the Tin Man, that meme that you see, and stuff like that. But they had us hold this for like 5 minutes one time, and it was like, oh my God. This is definitely a hip opener. Do it, hold it for 30 seconds if you can. Now, a lot of these you can make dynamic by going in and out of it, holding it for 2 seconds, coming out, holding it for 2 seconds and coming out too. So if this is painful, if any of these are painful, you can always make it a dynamic thing where you're just going to the stretch points, 2 seconds, and then come out of it or whatever. And that actually works for your mobility too.
Yeah, exactly. So this is another one. Excuse me. The 90-90s. It's a different one. It's like a windshield wiper effect, if you will. And you're just going back and forth. This one you will feel as well if you can do it. Again, work your way into it. Just use common sense in this regards.
Yeah, it's just a great opening and back and forth, internal and external rotation. That's what we need. Like I said, the hip car one does that and does the extension and flexion, all the movements of the hip. So that's a great one. This is a great one that'll really feel you. Like I said, after you do all these, they might be a little frustrating at first or whatever. They're a little frustrating for me because I don't have the full range of motion that I would like to have anywhere really. But if you don't work on it, you're never going to have it. Yep. So I know if I continue to work on it, it's going to get better. Exactly. Even if it takes me however long.
Exactly. So that's the 90-90s. And then we have the knee lift here, which is, again, a pretty easy one to do, but it's easy to forget how important this is just to pull your knees up.
Yeah, right? This is that knee drive. You need that motion. You need that range of motion. This helps to work on that range of motion because knee drive is key to your power and being able to move at the more power you have, the more range of motion you have, the more speed you're going to have. It's all part of it. But also for your movement, for your daily activities, I'm going to be doing a ton of gardening. I've been doing it at springtime, planting. So deep squats, I am like moving, rotating, lifting, doing all these things. I am able to do that because I strength train a lot. I run a lot, so I have the endurance to be able to do that. But since I started my run streak, have committed to working on this stuff too. Yeah,
exactly. And it's these are small things, but big deals. And this is again a hip squat. I mean, or deep squat. We've got a video here, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just sit there and you're gonna hold as long as you can, assuming you can.
Ideally, you should be able to hold this position for like 20 minutes, and then
Right.
you can kind of
Rotate a little bit back and forth. Yeah.
back and forth. But you should be able to do that, keeping your heels on the ground.
Yeah, ideal. I still can't. Well, if my shoes are on, I can do it that way, but it's not, again, one of those little things that'll really open up, really open up your hips for you, and you just overall good for your ankles, etc. So
now this one you've probably seen. This is the half kneeling hip flexor stretch. Now the problem is when you're going forward, you want to have a pelvic tilt. I mean, posterior tilt, not a pelvic tilt. And it's a short movement. So you're not going, a lot of people go really far forward, but to do that, they're having to arch. So it's like, I'm only going forward a little bit where I can keep my pelvis tucked under. And that angle, it makes it look like I'm arching, but I'm really, I'm not. It's kind of just how it kind of looks. So you can also, that's psoas, that's stretching that's a long muscle. That's the one that goes from your abdominal wall through your pelvis all the way to your femur. So that is a great one to stretch. If that is tight, that creates a whole host of problems.
which is what I had, because I was so tight here, and I ended up getting plantar fasciitis again because of this right here. When I went to stretch this, I was so tight right there. It was incredible. So
and then you kind of lean over, stretch it a little more, and then you kind of look over, it kind of just kind of rotates. So it's a simple thing, a great stretch that you can do that is going to work that psoas muscle, or iliopsoas, that they call. But all of those things, literally, you're doing 8 to 10 reps of these. Obviously, if it's a unilateral, you're doing it on both sides. But trust me, try to work it into either your strength training, try to work it into your dynamic, a couple of them into your dynamic warm-ups. The leg swings are definitely, the knee lifts are definitely, because, if you're doing butt kicks or high knees, you could start with a knee lift to really get that, stretch. And like I said, this is not static stretching. You can go hold it, release it, hold it for 2 seconds, release it. That's how you'd have it as part of your dynamic warm-up. But it's going to make those first 2 miles that you do, that all the memes say, it's like, never trust the first mile, it's a liar, because your brain is telling you, what are you doing? You don't want to do this. This sucks, blah, blah, blah. Because it's not warmed up to do the action you're asking it to do. It's not warmed up to do that high impact sport that you're actually asking it to do. You do all that stuff, you get warmed up, you get that mobility, that range of motion, you get all of that blood flow going. Then you go out and run. Trust me, it will be better.
Yeah.
It will make running better.
All these little things add up, right? It seems like a lot, but it doesn't take that much time to do some of these exercises. So we encourage you guys. This is something we're focusing on, which is why we're sharing it with you guys.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you guys are doing this, but just as a little reminder, and for those of you who are not, just please try to focus on this stuff. And again, do your own research on this. And
There's a ton of different ones.
There's a lot of different
ones. These are the ones that I'm doing now, because like I said, there's literally probably 30 of them you could do, but pick the ones that usually the ones you don't want to do are the ones that you should be doing.
I know,
that you need to work on.
The Obstacle is the Way. It's a great book, but it's basically saying the ones you don't want to do is the ones you should do.
Yeah.
Right.
But a few minutes a day, if you could figure out how to do that, one day do your shoulders, one day do your thoracic spine. We might just do a video on like a full mobility workout that you could do. That incorporates kind of a few of all of these, that doesn't take, that we can kind of get 10 minutes in or something. Little bit of doing it, if you have consistency, I guarantee you will see results. You will feel better. You will feel better with your running and just your daily activities too.
So with that, we're going to close out, as we've been saying each week here for the last number of weeks. If you guys because again, it's the nutrition and the stretching and the strength training, which lead to better running and more importantly, longevity and injury resilience, but it starts with what we're eating, and all this stuff cascades up, right? So because we've said this all the time, we're in our 50s and we are our high school weight. We know what to eat and we know it works for us, but it works for a lot of other people. So if you guys are stuck and you want a little bit of help, go to runtips.us/call. It's on the bottom of the screen there. It's runtips.us/call. We can just put together a simple thing for you guys. You'd be surprised, just some simple changes.
Like I said, it's really confusing. If you want to know, the biggest thing I get from my clients is I don't know what to eat. I don't know how many calories I should be eating, because it is confusing. You see a ton of different things or whatever, but simple formulas for your lifestyle, for your activity, for what you do and what your goals are. If you're just getting, if you're getting stuck at that point and it just seems overwhelming, it is overwhelming because there is so much out there. If you want, like I said, a little bit of help, knowing where your macros need to be, what your daily expenditures need to be, all those things, we're here to help.
Yep.
So
with that, guys, we're going to let you guys get back to your weekend and have a great Saturday. Try to get some run in this weekend if you can.
I know most of you are. I know a lot of you got the spring races coming up, so that's really exciting. So you're probably getting those long runs in. So good luck with all your training. Have an awesome day. You absolutely deserve it. And I'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.